Okay, so you know those sci-fi books we always talk about where houses practically think for themselves?
Right.
Turns out, we're not that far off.
Yeah.
When you sent over those articles about smart homes, I was blown away, to say the least. It seems like the future is looking a lot more interesting than just like, a clap-on lamp.
It really does feel like things are changing.
Yeah.
Like, these articles go way beyond just, like, listing cool gadgets.
Yeah.
It's more like they paint a picture of how AI is changing, like, the very idea of home.
Yeah, and it's not just about, using your voice to dim the lights or anything like that.
Right.
We've got the Internet of Things, AI, even VR all mixed in.
Yeah.
I'm really ready to jump into the specifics, but where do we even start?
Well, one of the articles made a comparison that I thought was really interesting. It's like we're moving from individual smart devices to an era of intelligent ecosystems. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So, like, think about a smart fridge that tells you that you're out of milk. That's helpful.
Right.
But not exactly life-changing.
Yeah, for sure.
But then imagine that fridge talking to your pantry. Like, it takes inventory of your pantry.
Okay.
Suggests recipes based on what you have. It maybe even coordinates with your grocery delivery app. That's the Internet of Things in action.
Wow.
But then you add AI on top of that.
And things get really interesting.
Right.
It goes from, like, helpful to kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, my house is learning my habits,
Exactly. And we already see this with smart thermostats now.
Right.
They learn your schedule and they adjust the temperature so that it's perfect when you come home from work.
Yeah.
But now imagine if AI could manage all of the energy consumption in your house.
Oh, wow.
It could find, like, efficiencies that you wouldn't even think of.
So it's like having a super efficient roommate who's obsessed with saving on the energy bill.
Right, exactly.
I can get behind that.
Oh.
But one thing that really struck me was how all of these articles emphasized that it's not just about individual technologies. It's more like the synergy between them, and specifically how AI can unlock the potential of the Internet of Things.
Yeah, I agree. That's where the smart in a smart home really starts to make sense.
Right, absolutely.
Like, for example, think about the potential for, like, personalized health management using this kind of technology.
Good.
We've got our fitness trackers, we've got our sleep apps, but imagine your house actually contributing to your well-being.
Okay, now that sounds really cool, but also kind of like an episode of Black Mirror.
Right.
But like in a good way, hopefully.
Yeah.
Like what kind of things are we talking about specifically?
So, like, one of the articles mentioned sensors that can actually monitor the air quality in your house.
Okay.
So they could adjust the ventilation or even purify the air based on your needs.
Oh, wow.
Or imagine a home that can sense changes in your sleep patterns.
Wow.
And it could alert you to, like, potential health issues early on.
Okay, that's really cool. I have to admit that's cool. But it also seems like we're venturing into, like, ethically murky territory.
Right.
Like, how much of our information are we okay with our homes knowing? And maybe more importantly, who else has access to that data?
Yeah, you're right. That's probably the biggest concern that these articles bring up. The privacy implications.
Right.
For AI to do what it does, it needs data.
Right.
And that means your daily routines, your, like you said, potentially very personal health information.
Yeah, it begs the question, is the convenience of a hyper-personalized smart home worth the potential cost of our privacy?
It's a question that we're already dealing with in the age of smartphones and social media, but it feels like the stakes are even higher when it's our homes.
Oh, for sure.
Like, we're not just talking about targeted ads here. This is sensitive data about our health, our habits, even how we move around our own homes.
Right, exactly. It's not something to take lightly. But before we go too far down the rabbit hole of data privacy, which we should definitely discuss further,
Yeah.
let's talk about something a little more fun, like the idea of AI becoming our own personal interior designers.
Yeah, the IKEA article, that one was really something. I have to admit, when I first saw furniture giant and AI-powered homes in the same sentence, I was a little skeptical.
Totally. Like, that's not exactly the first pairing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But did they actually deliver? Was it cool?
Oh, yeah, totally. They're using VR for more than just games.
Okay.
They're using it for your living room. So, like, imagine designing your dream space, but you're not just moving furniture around on a screen.
Right.
You're actually in the virtual environment.
Hold on, wait. Like a full-on simulation. Can you open cabinets and stuff? That's insane.
That's exactly what they're talking about. You can try out different layouts, different paint colors, even see how the light looks at different times of day.
Oh, wow.
And the best part, no more buyer's remorse. You know, when that armchair looks totally different in your living room than it did in the store.
Yeah, or online. Totally.
This solves that problem.
Okay, that's game-changing, seriously.
Yeah.
It's like it bridges that gap between, like, imagination and reality. And I feel like that could be huge, not just for, people who own homes, but for interior designers, architects, everybody.
Definitely. One article said that this technology could totally change design.
Really?
You wouldn't need to hire like an expensive professional to imagine your space for you anymore. You could just do it yourself.
Right.
You could become your own interior designer.
And you could probably avoid all of those renovation horror stories you hear about.
All right.
But speaking of downsides, we were just talking about the data privacy stuff with AI-powered homes.
Right.
Did any of the articles talk about how we can actually enjoy this technology without giving up, like, all of our personal information?
Yeah, for sure. It's a tough question to answer, and to be honest, there's no easy solution. But a lot of the articles talked about the importance of strong data security and data usage policies.
Okay.
Like, it's not enough for companies to just say, trust us with your information. People want to know what data is collected, how it's used, and who it's shared with.
Right, because it's one thing if, like, your smart speaker is listening for its wake word.
Right.
It's another thing to think that your house is watching and analyzing everything you do, even the things you don't want to think about.
Right, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
we're not just talking about someone hacking in and turning your lights off.
Yeah.
We're talking about very personal information about your life, your health, your family. It's a big responsibility for companies, but also for us because we need to demand better safeguards.
Totally, yeah. Data privacy aside, another concern I saw in these articles was the potential for tech overload.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much smart home stuff is too much? When does it stop being helpful and start being annoying?
Yeah, that's a great point. One article used the term ambient intelligence
Okay.
and basically said that's the ideal smart home.
Okay.
A space where technology just melts into the background. It anticipates your needs without you even having to ask.
So you spend less time, like, messing with settings on your phone and more time actually enjoying the smart home. I like it.
Exactly. Imagine a house that adjusts the lights and the temperature based on what it knows you like,
Yeah.
plays your favorite music when you get home,
Okay.
and maybe even starts making coffee before you even walk in the door.
All right. You got me at making coffee.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out for a second. All of these articles seem to agree that smart homes are here to stay.
Right.
They're not just some tech fad. They're going to change how we live, right?
For sure. And it's about more than just convenience. Like,
Yeah.
think about the impact on the environment.
Right.
Homes that can track and optimize their own energy use could be a game changer.
Yeah, it's like we're giving the planet a software update.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's not just about the environment either. Imagine smart homes that could help people age in place.
Oh, yeah?
So seniors can keep living on their own for longer. Or homes that can change and adapt as a family grows. There's so many possibilities. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, it's like our homes are becoming these dynamic, adaptable spaces, almost like they're alive.
And like any good roommate or housemate they should make our lives easier, safer, and more fun.
I like where you're going with this, but before we get too caught up in all the amazing possibilities, we should probably talk about those data privacy concerns again.
Right.
It seems like that's the big question mark in all of this. It's the digital elephant in the room.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've talked about all the good stuff, all the cool things that smart homes can do, but we can't forget about that other side, that kind of like unease around data.
Yeah, it's interesting you say unease because a lot of times that's how privacy gets talked about with technology. Like,
Yeah.
it's the price you pay for convenience.
Right.
Give up a little privacy, get a lot of cool features. But these articles, they actually pushed back on that a little bit.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, a few of them said that it's not that simple. It's not like an either situation.
Okay.
Like, it's not about stopping progress altogether.
Right.
It's about demanding better from the companies making this stuff.
So like stronger rules, not just about keeping hackers out,
Exactly.
but about what these companies can actually do with our data.
Right, like how they use it, who they share it with, all of that.
So what did the articles suggest we do? Like, were there any concrete ideas?
One idea that I saw, which I thought was really interesting, was this idea of data dividends.
Data dividends.
Yeah, so the idea is if companies are making money from our information,
Right.
shouldn't we get a say in how that happens?
Okay, yeah.
Or even a share of the profits?
Okay, that is really interesting. It kind of changes how you think about the whole thing.
Right.
It's not just that they're taking our data, but it's more like a partnership.
Exactly. It forces you to put a value on your information,
Right.
especially in this world where everything's connected.
It's not just fuel for an algorithm.
Right. Like, how do we make sure it's used ethically? How do we make sure it actually benefits us?
Man, that's a pretty deep thought for a conversation about smart homes.
Right.
But it connects to this bigger idea, don't you think?
For sure.
Like, it's not just about having a cool gadget. It's about how we want to live in the future.
Exactly. Tech companies need to think differently, but we do too as consumers.
Yeah.
We have to go beyond just being impressed by the newest thing.
The wow factor.
Right, exactly. We have to really think about what it means to have this technology in our homes.
So it's less, can my house do that?
Mm,
And more, should it even be able to?
right,
And what's the trade-off?
exactly. Transparency, accountability, and control over our own information.
You know, it's funny thinking back to how we started this conversation talking about sci-fi, because a lot of times in those stories, the lack of privacy is like a bad thing. Like it's part of what makes things dystopian.
Right. It's definitely a common theme. And I think it reflects real anxieties that people have about technology.
For sure.
But these articles, they do offer some hope, too.
Yeah. How so?
Well, because they make it clear that we're not just along for the ride. You know,
Right.
with all of this technology, it's not inevitable. We get a say in how it develops. We can shape the future of smart homes.
So it's not about picking a side like utopia or dystopia. It's about making choices to build the future we actually want.
Right, exactly. Smart homes should also mean smart choices.
I love that. That is a perfect point to end on. Lots to think about, everybody. You know, what does a truly smart home mean to you? Tell us. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious.